Before the first hint of daylight touched the horizon, the prairie was already alive in that quiet, almost magical way only early mornings can offer, when the air is cool, the wind is soft, and every sound seems sharper and more meaningful. And as I eased the truck door shut and shouldered my pack, I glanced down and saw my daughter walking beside me, bundled up, boots crunching lightly in the gravel, her eyes wide with that mix of sleepiness and excitement that only kids have when they know they're about to do something special. And right then I knew this wasn't just another day out in the field, this was one of those mornings she would remember years from now, the kind that quietly shape a childhood and build traditions that last a lifetime. We found a small rise overlooking a stretch of sagebrush flats and I helped her sit down next to me, keeping everything calm and safe, whispering, "Stay right here with me, don't move," not because anything was wrong but because patience is the first lesson you learn out here, patience and awareness, and I wanted her to feel the stillness the way I did, to hear the meadowlark starting up, to watch the sky slowly turn from deep blue to soft orange, to understand that hunting and wildlife management aren't just about action, they're about reading the land and becoming part of it for a while. The caller went out about 100 yards upwind, tucked into a patch of brush, and when the first soft sound drifted across the valley it didn't feel loud or aggressive, it felt natural, like something that belonged there, just another small noise in a big landscape, and we settled in to watch. I showed her how to scan slowly, not to whip her head around, how to look for movement instead of shapes, how a flick of an ear or a tail can give something away long before you notice the whole animal, and she nodded like she was being let in on a secret, which in a way she was. This is the kind of knowledge that only comes from time outdoors, lessons you can't get from a book or a screen. It didn't take long before we spotted motion near a shallow draw, just a quick flash of tan against the gray-green sage, and I tapped her shoulder and pointed, letting her find it herself, and when she finally saw it her whole face lit up. A coyote was easing toward the sound, curious and cautious, stopping every few steps to look around, and everything slowed down in that familiar way it does when you're focused. I explained quietly what we were doing and why, how predator control helps protect ranchers' livestock and keeps the balance healthy in areas where populations get too high, and how every decision we make out here has to be careful, ethical, and respectful. When the moment came, it was quick and clean, exactly the way it should be, and the valley returned to silence almost immediately, like the land had simply taken a breath and moved on. We stayed put because experience tells you there's often more than one traveling together, and sure enough another shape appeared further out, trotting along the edge of a fence line. My daughter whispered, "There's another," barely able to contain her excitement, and I couldn't help but smile because she was already spotting things before I did. That's when you know someone is learning the rhythm of the outdoors. Again we waited, patient and steady, letting the situation develop naturally, and when everything lined up safely, we handled it just as responsibly as the first. 2 early visitors and the morning was just getting started. As the sun climbed higher, we gathered our gear and moved to another stand, talking the whole way. She asked questions about wind direction, about why we placed the collar where we did, about how far different setups work best, and I answered each one carefully, realizing that this back-and-forth conversation was just as important as anything else. These walks between stands are where most of the real learning happens. You talk about respect for wildlife, about never taking risky shots, about always knowing what's beyond your target, about cleaning up after yourself and leaving the land better than you found it. Those are the values that matter most. At the next spot the terrain opened into rolling grass with little ditches and rises, perfect travel routes for coyotes moving through the country. We settled in again, backs against the brush, and let the sounds carry. The heat was already starting to build even though it was still morning, promising one of those long summer days that pushes close to 100 degrees, but the early hours are always golden, and sure enough movement appeared again, this time faster, two shapes weaving through the low spots like they had somewhere important to be. It happened quickly, coordinated and calm, just a couple of clean opportunities taken safely, and then it was quiet once more. My daughter looked at me and said, "That was awesome," and I laughed because I remembered saying the same thing to my dad years ago. There's something grounding about it. Out here there's no rush, no noise, just wind, sky, and whatever nature decides to show you. Throughout the day we made several more stands, some quiet, some busy, each one a little different. Sometimes nothing happened at all and we just sat there watching hawks circle overhead or listening to cattle lowing in the distance. And honestly those moments were just as enjoyable as the active ones. We shared snacks, told stories, laughed about little mistakes, and practiced glassing hillsides for fun. She started pointing things out before I even noticed them. A rabbit slipping through the brush, a deer way off near a tree line, birds diving for insects, and I realized she was becoming more observant by the minute. That awareness is one of the greatest gifts the outdoors can give you. By midday the sun was high and the wind picked up, carrying that dry, dusty smell that tells you summer is settling in, and we knew it was time to call it. As we packed everything back into the truck, tired but happy, I asked her what her favorite part was. She didn't talk about distances or numbers or any of the technical stuff. She said she liked sitting together watching the sun come up and being the one who spotted animals first. That answer told me everything. It meant she wasn't just there for excitement. She was connecting with the experience itself. Driving home, windows down, warm air rushing through the cab, I thought about how easy it is to forget what really matters. It's not about gear or statistics or anything flashy. It's about mornings like this, teaching your kids to slow down, to respect the land, to understand that managing wildlife responsibly helps both people and animals coexist, and to appreciate the beauty of wide-open country. It's about building memories that last longer than any single day. And that's why we keep coming back. Because every stand is a lesson, every sunrise is different, and every trip is another chance to share something meaningful together. We help livestock, we help wildlife, and most of all we help our families grow closer by spending time outdoors the way generations before us did. If there's one thing I hope people take from days like this, it's that the outdoors isn't just a place. It's a classroom, a tradition, and a bond between parent and child that can't be replaced. And as long as she keeps wanting to come along, I'll keep setting that alarm early, packing the gear, and heading back out into the sage at first light, ready to make the next memory together.
If you'll enjoy this video, please like and subscribe my channel for more information.